Hello everyone. I'm Ariana Simoto, and welcome to a demo of Foolish Mortals. Now, my friend Aunt Captain mentioned this to me and said that there was a demo and a Kickstarter and everything, and it just seemed very nostalgic to me because I grew up playing games such as Curse of Monkey Island and um, what's the other one? I just had the name and it flew away out of my head. King's Quest games. Those types of games, like Monkey Island games and King's Quest games. Those types of like puzzly games. So we're going to give this a try because she mentioned it, and I mentioned that it was kind of like a puzzly game. So I watched the trailer and saw the pictures, and I was like, "Ooh, this looks like a me game." So we're gonna try it out. Let's see how it goes. See if I'm still as good as I used to be. I might have gotten really crappy at it. Kind of has that Haunted Mansion type vibe. Oh, I love masks, like masquerade masks. They're just so intricate and beautiful. I have a couple. I've never been able to wear them anywhere, but I have them. Hmm. The music is very well done. Like it's very like almost like a ominous but intriguing kind of vibe to it. Very fitting with the game. And like these art style pictures, very well done. Like kind of giving you a hint of what the story is going to be, but also very mysterious and not telling you anything. Like it's like you're going to be dealing with ghosts and mystery and all this stuff, and there's like spirits and weddings and all these other things. I hope they kind of give us a little bit more of a story in this demo. Music by Matt Isaac. Ooh.
They said there was a treasure on the island, its location known only by the dead. I could see it in my dreams. How was I supposed to know that in order to find it, I'd have to die too?
What? We're gonna die? Oh, I love this art style though. Ah, it's so nostalgic.
Spirits and specters from regions unknown, guide to me the wanderer who searches alone. Well, welcome back, Murphy McCallan. Have you found all 5 ingredients for the spell?
I found 3 so far. Only 2 are left. The chalk and the coffin nails.
Hurry. The island will lead you to that which you seek. I have no doubt about that.
This dude's voice is very harsh. Like it's very fitting, obviously, for the character style, but like just the appearance of him, the voice is very well matched. But it's really harsh on the ears. Like so far the voice acting is great. Props to them, props.
How will the spell help me find the lost treasure of Belmore Manor?
There are things on this island that have gone unseen. Stories that have been left unheard. At least to mortals. I commune with regions beyond. Let me introduce you to a friend. Out of the shadows, the cursed and the damned, return now my servant to do my command.
Oh.
I have returned to you, Master.
Loa, this gentleman wishes to find the lost treasure of Belmore Manor. Tell him how this can be done.
It's a creepy.
Only inhabitants of the house know where the treasure lies. Their spirits still within its walls, trapped between life and death. To ask them, those spirits must be revealed on the mortal plane.
And that is what our spell will do, Murphy. A summoning spell to unveil the ghosts trapped within the house.
5 ingredients place inside, tie closed, and then unseal. Within the focus what may hide, this spell will soon reveal.
Once you've collected all 5, we can summon the ghosts of Belmore Manor. Once we've summoned the ghosts, we can ask them exactly where the treasure was hidden. You have served me, Loa. Begone!
Ooh, so harsh. You'd think he'd be more kind to somebody who's serving him, especially a spirit. Like, what about karma in the afterlife? Like, does he not worry about that? And if it's so simple to find the truth, why hasn't he done so before? Like, does he just not care? Or is it that he can't? Like, is it something that he can't have access to because maybe it's he can't perform spells for himself or something? I don't know. Oh, if I remember, like, do you guys remember The Princess and the Frog? Something about, like, thing about voodoo. You can't do a thing for myself. I can only do for others or something. Was that a line from that movie? I can't remember. Let me know. I can't remember if it is. I think it is. But let me know in the comments if I'm right.
Do you know what happened at Belmore Manor?
You want to hear a ghost story, Murphy McCallan?
I don't
want
know
to know
if he does,
everything I can about
but I
that
do.
house.
I
Then
want to know.
Listen closely. Dark magic runs throughout Belmore Manor.
Oh, that was
The
loud.
house was built by the Belmore brothers, 3 merchants from England who made their fortune trading across the Caribbean. Xavier Belmore, an explorer, Yardley Belmore, an actor, and Cecil Belmore, a scientist. Their parents dead for many years. They each loved and cared for their young sister, Abigail met a young sailor who worked aboard one of her brother's ships. And in less than a year, he proposed. The engagement was a scandal.
Why?
Despite having the pick of any eligible bachelor in high society, her hand and the Belmore fortune was to go to a commoner.
Oh, how much
Because of
snobs.
their unconditional love for their young sister, the Belmore brothers sanctioned the marriage. But
Good brothers.
People began to wonder if Abigail was being locked into marriage, whether by blackmail or black magic.
Huh?
The grand wedding was planned by the 3 proud brothers, but in the months leading up to the wedding, each of the brothers, one by one, was lost, presumed dead.
Hmm?
And yet
What?
the wedding was still to go ahead. And with
Oh, that is
Abigail
so
set to
suspicious.
inherit the Belmore fortune once she came of age, many people began to wonder whether the sailor was not a perpetrator, but a pawn. On the morning of the wedding, the sailor was summoned to her chambers. "I don't love you," Abigail declared. "I never loved you."
Okay, to me that seems like she was
And to
protecting him.
everyone gathered in the house, Abigail declared that that same evening she would marry another, John Rackham, first officer of the Belmore Trading Company.
Oh.
Be a new groom.
That's not good.
Except that didn't happen. On the night of the wedding, everyone in the house suddenly and mysteriously vanished.
How? Like, does that mean everybody who was coming to the wedding?
Revenge of the scorned sailor. The house that night held a heart that would be broken, a victim who would be tricked, and a force that would unleash evil. But no one knows exactly who each was. If you want to find the treasure, Murphy, you'll have to find out.
I want to find out. That's so spooky. Like, it almost seems like she told her fiance that she didn't love him to protect him, maybe? Maybe she knew what was coming for her. And it was some huge plot to end it all. And like, to protect him, she sent him away, but ended up cursing all those who tried to destroy her happiness and killed her brothers. I don't know. But I want to know. This game is making me more intrigued by the minute.
How am I going to find the spell ingredients?
Everything I've ever needed for my voodoo spells, I have found on this island. It's as though this island pulls the supernatural to it. Keep searching. Once that's complete, I will show you the final step of the spell.
Okay.
I'm going to finish finding the voodoo ingredients.
Hurry back.
Interesting. Part 1, the summoning spell. Interesting. So it's a point-click adventure, so we don't do anything with, like, walking or anything. We just click on things to look. Whee!
A rotatable wooden crane stood at the bow of the riverboat, used to load up cargo in days gone by.
Interesting.
A freight sack hung from the wooden crane. The wooden shack had a single door. From the moss growing on it, it looked like it hadn't been used for years.
Alrighty.
A taxidermied fish was mounted on a board surrounded by an old frame. A plaque below read, "Record-breaking Pencosa fish, caught by Captain Pemberley."
I wonder if I can adjust the audio. No, it doesn't look like I can. Maybe if I click on my character?
A rotatable wooden...
No. Can I pick up the fish?
I took the taxidermied fish from the rotting wooden frame.
That's interesting that I can pick up the rotten fish. I wonder if... There's always a reason for
The
these
wooden
things.
shack had a single door. From the moss growing on it, it looked like it hadn't been used for years. With a bit of elbow grease, I pushed up the wooden window frame. The window to the shack was open, but its interior was largely unimpressive and covered in spiderwebs. I jiggled the handle.
Alrighty, let's
Pressed
go in.
against the inside wall was a dusty desk covered in spiderwebs, and on top it, one thing lay undisturbed, a small folded document which I picked up, along with an unintentional 8-legged companion.
Ooh.
Ugh. Ghost stories and haunted treasures I could handle, but spiders gave me the creeps.
Why? Spiders are cute.
There was nothing else of interest.
Okay. To the island.
The ship looked like it was sinking into the murky bayou water all around it.
Yeah, it kind of does look like it's sinking.
I doubted there was anything useful in the bayou. I wasn't going to risk having my arm bitten off by an alligator to confirm those doubts.
Alligator food. I wouldn't want to be food. Huh. Oh, I like the island. So, the Spirit Queen. That's where we are. So then there's place in the middle of nowhere. Not accessible. Not accessible. Well, let's go here.
Embedded into the hillside was a large, elaborately carved crypt. It looked to be hundreds of years old. I couldn't see any way to open it.
Okay. Let's just keep looking around.
The graveyard was dotted with headstones. Some old, some young, some legible, some not.
Okay.
I scanned the headstones for anything of note, but didn't know what I was searching for. I scanned the...
Okay. Good to know. Beautiful moon. So there's stuff over here. What's over here? Oh. A dude. What are they called? Morticians or gravediggers?
A scruffy-looking man was working away within the remnants of the shack. The rough-looking coffin lay unceremoniously on the rickety table. An antique stove burned quietly in the corner of the tumble-down shack. A rusty tin can sat on the ground.
It's probably full of nails.
The tin was empty. Where one of the table legs was broken, a jack was being used to prop it up, stopping the table from wobbling.
Interesting.
Hello.
Ah, consarn it! Don't sneak up on people like that. You frighten the dying daylights out of me.
He looked at me like he'd seen a ghost. Sorry, you seem a little jumpy?
I thought you were those pesky kids again.
Kids don't seem like a reason to be scared.
They're little terrors. I'm sure they're gonna give me a heart attack.
Aw.
Last week they showed up with a doctor's note they forged, saying a man I'd buried that day was just a very deep sleeper. 7 hours I was out here digging him up, at my age.
Aw.
And was he sleeping?
Dead as a dodo, just like those kids will be if I get my hands on them.
Little brats.
My name's Murphy McAllen. I've just arrived on the island.
Well, welcome, Mr. Murphy. I'm Edgar Kettle, gravedigger, undertaker, coffin maker, and anything else that needs doing to keep this cemetery running.
Huh. Must be hard work.
Do you not find working in a graveyard a little eerie?
Why would it be eerie?
I don't know. Ghosts, maybe?
I don't like to think about ghosts.
Why
I
not?
guess in this job you wouldn't want
Because
to.
they'd be bad for business. I have my work cut out here with the dead as it is. Imagine if they came back asking for a refund.
Refund. Okay.
What are you working on?
This is just a pauper's coffin the parish is funding. Lock 'em in lumber, leave 'em to slumber. That's what I call it. No frills. This'll end up 5 feet under by the end of the night.
I thought it was supposed to be 6 feet.
You're not the one doing the digging. 5 feet means I get a tea break.
Aww.
I'm looking for the treasure of Belmore Manor.
Another treasure hunter. Well, let me tell you something, young man. Don't even think about digging up my graveyard. There's no treasure buried here, and I'm already busy enough filling in the holes that are meant to be here.
Do you know anything about the disappearance at Belmore Manor?
I think it's important to leave the dead to rest in peace.
But what if they're not in peace?
That's exactly what I was going to
I
ask.
think there's more to that story than meets the eye. You know the 3 brothers went missing, right? Well, if you ask me, I think Abigail Belmore was behind it. She was engaged to a sailor, but nobody like her would go for a commoner.
Well, that's a bit of
She might have loved
snobbish.
him.
She could have loved somebody with a big bank account, too. I think she must have been using him, pretending to love him so he'd do her dirty work for her, bumping off her brothers. Then afterwards, she drops him and goes to marry the officer of the company. Fiendish.
Those are some pretty serious allegations.
Just a feeling, that's all. I don't have any evidence. But when you work with cadavers, you kinda get a sixth sense about things. People killed in mysterious circumstances. Like you can tell when someone's sneaking up behind you.
You actually seem to have trouble with that.
Wise guy.
So he sounds very jaded for an old man, like maybe a scorned lover in the past or something. But he's also kind of snobbish in a way. Like, just because somebody's wealthy doesn't make them bad, and just because somebody's poor doesn't make them good. There's plenty of people, like, people are just people. Like, the circumstances we're born into, while they play a part in who we become, don't necessarily define us as humans. And that includes whether we're born into wealth or not. And I was not one born into wealth at all. So, like, I'm not saying that to defend wealthy people. I'm saying in general, people, like, there are scummy people all around and there are good people all around. It just depends on who you choose to be, regardless of your circumstances. Like, you can have the most awful things in the world happen to you and still be a good person. Like, you don't let those bad things that happen to you cloud your ability to be kind, caring, and generous, compassionate person to other people. Doesn't mean you become a doormat, but it's based on who you want to choose to be, not based on what other people define you as, is basically what I'm trying to say.
Why are you out here working so late?
The funerals take place in the morning, and I prefer to be tucked up in my bed. I don't like those early funerals. I'm not a morning person.
Mm-hmm. That's nice.
What do you think was behind the disappearance?
Well, the sailor must have found out he was being manipulated, mustn't he? Done something to get his revenge.
But where would the bodies go?
What do you think the sailor did to get his revenge?
Nobody knows. But in his contracts to the Caribbean, he could have come across something fiendish. All we know is that everyone in that house disappeared. And to tell you the truth, I'm quite relieved they did.
Why's
Why?
that?
Because if they'd not disappeared, it would be this old fool who'd have had to bury them. Saved me a good amount of work.
He's such a grumpy codger. I like him.
Have you got any spare coffin nails?
No, I don't got any to spare. I have to buy these out of my own pocket. Do you know how much the parish gives me per burial nowadays? A pittance. The roof's leaking, my table's broken. I've used floorboards to build some of the coffins.
Aww.
Take my advice. Don't go into this line of work. I'm telling you, undertaking's a dying business.
No, I don't think it's like that. I think it's probably the church being stingy. I don't really have a great opinion of churches, like religions in general. I'm more spiritual than religious, and simply because religions were created by man, so they're open to bias and manipulation. Believing that something else is out there is a personal choice, and I don't think anybody should be dictating how one chooses to express or exhibit those beliefs, as long as you're not harming anybody or seeking to hurt another simply for your own enjoyment. I think leave well enough alone.
Have you ever accidentally buried someone who is still alive?
Not that I know of. When you think about it, how would I know?
Shouts for help? Desperate shaking of the coffin?
Look, I haven't sealed anyone up who was chatting away with me, let's put it that way. I usually check for signs of life, but everyone takes shortcuts sometimes, don't they? I deserve some rest in peace, too.
Did the coffin just move?
Don't even joke about that.
Aw.
I best be running along.
Don't drop dead. I don't want anything else adding to my to-do list.
So, I wonder if we could, like, give him something in exchange for nails. So, that was... I pushed D because I forgot that it's a point-click game, and I was able to look at this. So, this is for diary. D is for diary. So, I have to get the chalk and the nails. So, I got rum, I got black feathers, and I got gunpowder. Good to know. Anything else? Well, let's get going. Oh, I pushed I for that. Interesting. Save. Save. Ooh, that was a little harsh on the ears. There was like a clicking sound. Really loud clicking sound. Okay. Let me see. That's my diary. Hotspot finder. Interesting.
The graveyard was... I scanned the headstones for anything of note, but didn't know what I was searching for. I scanned the headstone. A coffin sat upon a rickety-looking table, with one leg shorter than the others. I tried to move the coffin, but the jack was holding the table up securely.
Well, that's good.
The rough-looking coffin lay unceremoniously on the rickety table. The coffin lid had been nailed down securely. I wasn't going to be able to open it.
So that's a way to go.
I scanned the headstone.
Doesn't know what he's looking for. Okay, well, let's just continue on then. It's good to know that that's there. Okay, let's head down to the dock, I guess.
Walking into the port town of Deadnettle, I could sense its history in every stone, brick, and plank. Echoes of merchant ships loading and unloading all manner of cargo from expeditions throughout the Caribbean. Gold and treasure that may still lie hidden on the island.
Interesting. Let me just see what the things I have are. So that's magazine, manuscript, bottle, fish. It's captain's license, a bottle. Oh, interesting. So I don't have to hit I to do that. I can just go up with my mouse and it appears. Cool.
It was the door to a jewelry shop, with a sign behind the glass reading, "Back in 5 minutes."
Okay. Back in 5 minutes, huh?
A homemade paper sign hung on the front of the theater. Set up on the seafront was an elaborately carved wooden puppet theater, with Polchanala painted across the top, and a sign hanging in front of the red velvet curtain. Gruff mumbles emanated from inside the puppet theater. Obviously, preparation for tonight's show was already underway.
Good to know.
The sign read, "The fantastic Fantaccio brothers will be performing tonight. People of all ages welcome. Donations welcome even more so."
Cool. Room and board. That light just came on.
It was the door to a jewelry shop.
Okay, well, let's go this way. Oh. Did it just freeze? Hello? Hello? What happened? Did I freeze it up? Boo. Okay, that was weird. All I did was hit the window button and it unfroze. The Captain's Clue? Oh, Captain's Club. That's a B. It looks like an F from here. K.
A fisherman sat at the end of the pier, his legs dangling over the edge, his eyes engrossed in a book, and an air of being distinctly proud of himself.
Maybe he's
It was a
proud he's
mechanical
fishing?
scale used for weighing fish. The tip of a wooden boat poked above the water, clearly the result of a rather unfortunate expedition.
There's some more wood for the Undertaker.
A poster was hung on the wall. From how much it had faded, it had clearly been there for years.
An archway.
A notice board stood outside the newspaper office, containing a mixture of front pages and advertisements. A fishing net was stretched between two poles. Usually they were hung up to dry, but this one looked like it hadn't been touched in a while.
Let's go in here.
You! Stop right there! What's your name?
Murphy McAllen.
I haven't seen you before. What's your business?
I'm just visiting. Why do you need to know?
Because your business is my business, and my business is news. I'm Evelyn Stoker, editor of the Juniper Parish Gazette. No misdeed left unshared, no drama left unmonetized. Come on, work with me here, Murphy. I need something juicy. Committed any crimes? Uncovered any affairs? Any deep, personal secrets to reveal?
The honest-to-God truth. No.
I need a good story. I can't always let something minor like the truth stand in the way of that.
What? So she's gonna write some sussy stories? Guess that's accurate to real journalism.
It was a large and ornate printing press, which must have cost a fortune decades ago, but was now very much out of date.
It's very messy.
Hanging on a peg at the far side of the room was a battered flashbulb camera. The back wall of the newspaper office was filled with filing cabinets. From the labels on the front, they looked to be archived issues of the Juniper Parish Gazette. The editor peered over her spectacles at everything she did. I wondered if the only reason she wore them was to peer over them.
Possible.
On the floor was a large canister filled with dark black printer's ink. Around it, the floor was stained with ink splatters. It was a pair of scissors left on the table from packaging the newspapers. A ball of twine had been left on the table, presumably used for bundling up newspapers.
So she's just gonna let us take these things? That's interesting. I wonder if I can use the bottle on the ink.
Trying to fill the bottle with ink would have caused too much of a mess. If I needed some ink, I could always come back to the newspaper office.
Okay. Good to know.
Yes?
Hi. What are you working on?
Listen to this. An innocent victim's domesticated canine has been suddenly and mysteriously ripped away from them by fate. Its location and intentions are unknown.
Wait, are you talking about a lost dog?
Technically, it's not lost anymore. It was found shortly before I got to the house. But still, the story must be written.
I have a headline suggestion. Lost dog, not lost.
I have a personal suggestion. Butt out.
Don't you have more interesting stories to write about?
The crackpots this island calls a population wouldn't know something interesting if they paid for it. Which they hardly do. Believe me, I've tried to get juicier stories. Scouring the island, doorstop interviews, hiding beneath windows.
You eavesdrop on people through their windows?
It's called investigative reporting.
Ugh. She's not a very good person.
What's in those filing cabinets?
Past issues of the newspaper, starting right back in 1864. Of course,
Oh.
things were a lot more interesting when Dead Nettle was thriving as a port town. Comings and goings of people, ships, and cargo, lots to report on back then. More than the dregs I have to dress up now.
Why did the ship stop coming to Dead Nettle?
The Belmore Trading Company was the heartbeat of this island. After the disappearance, there was no one left to run the company, and it all got sold off. When that folded, so did pretty much everything else.
Okay.
Do you have any back issues featuring the Belmore Manor wedding?
We don't, I'm afraid. Most of the paper's directors were at the wedding and disappeared along with everyone else. The
Oh.
newspaper had to shut up shop for weeks while it was restaffed. This was back when the Gazette wasn't run by just one person.
Wow.
Would you take my photograph?
Do you know how much the chemicals cost to develop those photographs? I'm on a limited budget here, McAllen. Unless you've done something notable, you're not getting into print.
Interesting. Yet she was like, news! Stranger coming to town isn't newsworthy, I guess?
What constitutes something notable for the newspaper?
Frankly, our standards are pretty low these days. Yesterday, I photographed Ned Kipps, the fisherman that hangs around the pier, for catching a fish.
Is that a surprising turn of events for a fisherman?
It broke the island weight record. The Pencozas, a fish that's been caught round the island since it was settled. The locals say it tastes good. I'd rather chew on raw cotton.
I'm doing some research on the treasure of Belmore Manor.
Leave it. That's my advice. There's no story in it.
No story.
Not that anyone would believe. And I've got advertisers breathing down my neck.
Interesting.
What's your theory on Belmore Manor?
This might sound far-fetched, but I think it was hypnotism. All the puzzle pieces make sense.
Who was hypnotized?
Abigail, by that strange sailor she was going to marry. This newspaper had been publishing a bunch of stories about spooky goings-on across the island. We even had tip-offs of black magic inside Belmore Manor. Can you believe it?
Who was doing black magic?
Well, we weren't told for sure, but it makes sense, doesn't it? The sailor! Why else would someone as powerful as Abigail want to marry a lowly manual worker like him? Come the night of the wedding, and she wised up. Married John Rackham, the company's first officer. Much more on her social standing, and a responsible choice for the company.
Why is everybody so pompous in this? Like, if you're that wealthy already, you can afford to marry whoever you want. Like, there are people who marry because their circumstances, like, they've got nothing else. They just, it's like, well, I can't survive on my own, so I need to marry for money, you know, like, those people exist, yes. But it sounds like she was in a position, especially back in those times, sounds like she was in a position where she would never have to worry about money, so why wouldn't she want to marry for love?
What do you think caused everyone to disappear?
The last revenge of the sailor's sorcery. But imagine me writing that into a piece of serious journalism. I'd be laughed out of the industry.
Or you could write it as a piece of fiction and maybe it becomes true. That's what happens with a lot of things nowadays.
I think I better be going.
Keep your eyes out for a story, McAllen. There are secrets on the island, and it's my job to sell advertisements next to them.
Secret's gonna secret.
Hey, you can't come back here.
Oh,
Sorry.
all right then. Let's go then. Bye-bye. Thank you for the scissors and the rope.
The fishing net was so worn, it looked like it might fall apart at any moment. It wasn't going to be of any use to me.
Oh. I thought maybe we could put the fish in there and maybe trap a seagull for something. I don't know.
A fisherman sat at the end of the pier, his legs dangling over the edge, his eyes engrossed in a book. and an air of being distinctly proud of himself.
Kind of looks like he's engrossed in who you are, not in the book.
Are the fish biting?
Well, not so well today, to tell the truth. They must have been spooked by something. But you should have seen them yesterday. I was having to fight them off the rod.
Nice.
The name's Ned Kipps, by the way. Just Kipps to my friends.
I'm Murphy McAllen.
Nice to meet you, Mac. What are you doing on this old rock anyway? I haven't seen you around before. Here on vacation?
I guess you could say that.
Then you got worse judgment than an arm wrestler squaring up to a kraken. Hope you don't regret it.
Me too. What's that book you're reading?
The Louisiana Book of Records. There's this fish called a pinkoza that swims around these parts. Delicious barbecue. And you're looking at the fella that's caught the heaviest pinkoza ever weighed at the Dead Nettle Docks. Now I'm looking to see if it's a state record, maybe even national, or a world record.
That's some achievement.
Oh, it was. Got my photograph on the front page of the newspaper and everything.
Nice. Congratulations. Barbecued fish sounds yummy.
What do you do with the fish you catch?
A couple I save for myself, and the rest I sell to the captain's club. They fancy them up with lemon lobster, slawfish something or other. Fools. Everyone knows the best way to cook them is to barbecue them. But then again, I haven't eaten in that place my whole life.
Why not?
I don't have a captain's license, so they won't let me in.
Oh.
Don't you have a fishing boat?
Now, I used to. The Petit Pichet. But they don't count it if it doesn't have a crew.
What happened to it?
That's it across the harbor with its bow sticking out the water. It was the strangest thing. There I was, fishing just out in the bay, when a sea serpent comes out the water, wraps itself around the boat. Well, I was going to be a goner. Jabbed my fishing pole right in its beady eye, throttled the motor, and managed to make it back to shore just as the hull went under. It's lucky I made it out alive.
Very
That's
lucky.
a pretty tall tale.
I wouldn't believe it myself if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes.
It was clear that Ned had a penchant for fanciful stories. He told them with such vigor, I think he'd convinced himself they were true.
Or maybe it actually happened. You don't know. There's some weird things in this world.
I'm looking for the lost treasure of Belmore Manor.
Well, I've heard a tall tale or two, but even I'm not spending my time looking for that. It's been lost for 30 years now.
Lost means it's still ready for finding.
I've traveled every waterway on this island, and I haven't even seen a hint of it. It could be at the bottom of the ocean for all I know. And I've found a few treasures in my time. French treasure, British treasure, pirate treasure, but no Belmore treasure.
Do you still have those treasures?
Well, I had to hide them again. Give someone else a chance to find it. I wouldn't believe it myself if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes.
I see.
What do you know about the disappearance at Belmore Manor?
Now there's a tale to tell. You know about Miss Belmore? The bride engaged to the sailor? I heard she was having an affair, getting up to no good with this fellow called John Rackham. He was one of the Belmore Company's higher-ups. Anyway, sailor catches wind of it and tricks Rackham into giving the lady a gift. That's what caused everything to go topsy-turvy.
What was the gift?
Call me a liar, but there are places in the Caribbean that trade things more elusive than gold. Ungodly things.
Is that what you think caused the disappearance?
What else could it be?
So sussy.
What can you tell me about Miss Belmore?
Ah, Abigail. More beautiful than a mermaid, and twice as fishy. Seems like such a nice girl, too. Until the affair. It seems so unlike her.
What about the sailor?
Don't know much about him. Never met the fella. I never got involved in the dock work, to tell the truth. Always preferred to sit with my fishing pole and fend for myself. We all figured that Abigail being in love with him and everything. He must have been fine folk. I think we were wrong. Poor Rackham, though. He was wronger still. I'm a business guy myself. Get the product, sell the product. Nothing wrong with bringing home the bacon. But he brought back trouble, and he paid the price.
I suppose it was a mistake for him to get involved with Abigail.
It's risky mixing business and pleasure.
So it's only been 30 years since the incident of everybody disappearing? Sorry, people honking their horns outside. I'll just wait for them to stop with the honking. It's just rude. 'Cause it doesn't look like they're just like they're. Anyway. So, a lot of the people on the island were actually around when the disappearances happened. So, there should be a lot of people who know what's going on, like, kind of suspect what might have happened. So, they saw everything unfold, and it's basically only the higher society people who disappeared.
Catch you later, Ned.
See you around, Mac.
Very nice man. Okay. Let's go in there. Oh, I like how everything like you can basically go anywhere, like your character walks everywhere. Huh.
Apart from the occasional disapproving look out of the corner of his eye, the maitre d' behind the podium seemed to be doing everything he could to convince himself I wasn't there.
What a
The
butthole.
maitre d' stood behind a tall podium, glancing down at a ledger in front of him. The courtyard echoed with the trickling noise of a small fountain.
Very pretty sounds.
An ornate statue stood in the alcove.
You can't go up there. It's for members only.
What a jerk.
There was nothing in the fountain apart from a rim of moss. I glanced at the ledger on the podium. It was mostly empty, and the few entries there didn't seem of any interest.
So it's just a bunch of pompous people then. Okay.
Good evening. He looked past me like I was invisible, as though if he ignored me hard enough, there was a chance I'd disappear. I said good evening?
I suppose, if one's standards are low enough. Have you taken a wrong turn, sir?
I'm just having a look around.
Well, make it a quick one.
Who are you?
My name is Felix Greer, maitre d', bartender, and acting manager of the Captain's Club, when Mr. Perkins has his night off. And who, pray tell, are you?
Murphy McAllen. I'm looking for the lost treasure of Belmore Manor.
Oh, goody, another young adventurer seeking fame, fortune, or some combination of the two. Just what Dead Nettle's been lacking for local color.
Everybody's
this
so
place?
rude and
This,
condescending.
sir, is the Captain's Club, a private members club for current and retired sea and riverboat captains. We are highly exclusive. Are you a captain?
He asked with a smugness that told me he already knew the answer.
I thought not. Then may I recommend a swift exit? You'll find a convenient egress approximately 180 degrees to starboard. If you like, I can give you a good swift kick in the right direction, sir. And don't feel a need to stop walking until your ankles get soggy.
What a jerk.
What can you tell me about Dead Nettle?
Do you think you've wandered into the local library? Should we gather around for story time?
I was just hoping to talk to someone obviously so knowledgeable about the area.
Well,
That's
yes,
good. Feed his
unfortunately,
ego.
I'm plagued with an encyclopedic knowledge of the local area. My concierge duties require it. I have a spiel. Welcome, hardy traveler, to our quaint port town of Dead Nettle. Once this town you see around you was a hub of commerce, a beacon for ships bravely navigating between America, Europe, and the Caribbean. With the unfortunate dissolution of the Belmore Trading Company, our town has settled into a quieter life, perfect for the sailor ready to hang up their cap. We hope that you enjoy your time in our homely town and perhaps explore some of the local sites. With the Captain's Club always here as your home port.
Why was the Belmore Trading Company dissolved?
Well, you're taking me off script, but it really was quite the scandal. The three owners of the company vanished, and there was simply nobody left to run the company.
Wasn't there anyone who tried?
The first officer of the company, Mr. Rackham, looked to step up, but he disappeared too. I do wish the company hadn't collapsed.
I bet lots of people share that wish.
I might have more customers if it hadn't.
Has nothing to do with that people are just gone. It's because of greed. Probably why they disappeared too.
What do you know about the lost treasure of Belmore Manor?
Do you think you're living in a storybook? Weathered maps, talking parrots, X marks the spot? Grow up, you silly boy. Captaincy is an accomplished skill which doesn't need belittling by childish tales like lost treasure.
What do you know about the Belmore wedding?
You mean the disappearance of the Belmore wedding? On moonlit nights when the waves crash against the rocks, the captains of this club trade yarns about this very mystery. Did you know Abigail Belmore's fiancé was a sailor who worked on the ships? Some of the old boys here even worked with him. They say he loved her, as true as a captain loves the sea. But she was a temptress, a siren who scuttled that sailor's heart.
What did she do?
After months of engagement, she broke it off and chose to marry an officer of the company instead, on their very wedding day.
Who was the man she chose to marry instead?
John Rackham, a landlubber who only used the bounties of the sea to fill his coin purse. But the Belmores harnessed his ambitions for the company, his expertise at imports and exports.
Why did she do it?
What many people don't know is that mysterious things had been found on one of the company voyages to the Caribbean. Mystical things, some say.
What did they find?
The crew was sworn to secrecy by the Belmore brothers, and all of the men were loyal enough to keep their word. But the rot in the rope was that sister, Abigail. People say that the discovery took hold of her. With the broken heart of the sailor and the resources of the officer, she was about to unleash something terrible. Perhaps it was a good thing that they all disappeared.
Do you think that's true?
Of course not. It's all nonsense. But the captains do love to outperform each other with such tales on a dull evening.
What makes you think I'm not a captain?
Well, for one thing, you lack the grizzle, the crustiness, the essential R of a captain.
How do I get those?
Years of exposure to salt water and sullen, uncooperative crew members, I should think. Tell me, have you ever captained a three-rigger through a tropical typhoon? Have you ever run the rapids of the Mississippi without hitting a single reef? Wind in your sails, fire in your furnace, waves beneath your keel?
Have you?
Well, it's more complicated than that.
In what way?
I get seasick.
Is there any way to prove I'm a captain?
You might show me your captain's license. As I'm sure you know, the state of Louisiana requires all captains, both sea and riverboat, to carry one. But don't try to foist me off with a fake. Last week, we had someone present a license with a photograph distinctly unlike their contemporary appearance. The photograph was clearly of someone a good deal older than them, with more facial hair and, most importantly, one less eye.
I best be casting off.
Don't feel the need to rush back, sir.
But I have a captain's license. Whose license is this? It's not mine. Interesting.
It was a small leather pouch with a drawstring, used for voodoo spells. Currently, it held black feathers, gunpowder, and rum.
Okay. Oh. Spooky.
It was a handful of names. It was a crumbling rock. It was a pair of It was a Around the illustration was a ring of text. 5 ingredients. Place inside, tie closed, and then unseal. Within the focus, what may hide, this spell will soon reveal.
It's rather ominous.
It was a voodoo manuscript that looked hundreds of years old, with the instructions to a spell that summons things hidden within. It was a voodoo.
Okay.
It was an empty soda bottle that. It was the taxidermy. It was a ball. It was a pair of.
Marion Macabre magazine. The Vanished Wedding. 2 cents. So this is what basically turned him on to the story. For richer or poorer, till death do us part. Okay. Reproduction from the Belmont Art Collection. 3 brothers and their sister Abigail.
It was the magazine where I first read about the Belmore treasure. Now I was going to find out if it was more than just a ghost story.
Looks like it's a big, long story. I would love to read it all, and I probably will, but not right now. I wonder if I can just pass him my...
Without a photograph of me, there was no way he was going to accept it as proof of me being a captain.
Oh, that's why we need the photograph. Okay, cool. Good to know. Good to know. Let's go over here. Oh, wait, I wanted to go over here. And I wanted to see if I could check that sign. Let's let this bring us up. And then go back in. Oops. That was weird.
Anything to report?
Nothing yet, but I'm keeping my eyes open.
What is she? Does he work for her now? Like, what's going on? Let me. For some reason, my mouse is being weird. Okay.
The latest newspaper contained a photograph of the fisherman on the docks, with a headline declaring he'd just broken the island's heaviest catch record. Nothing else was of interest.
Good to know. Whoops. Not sure what's happening. It keeps freezing on me. That was weird. For some reason it keeps like freezing up. I don't know if it's the game or if it's just the way the computer is being weird. I don't know.
It was the door to a I tried the door.
Well, it did say back in 5 minutes, so... Still, it's a long 5 minutes.
Framed by trees and lit by moonlight, Belmore Manor stood imposingly in the still night air. Even without lights on, it felt like something inside the house was calling me, or warning me.
It's a beautiful house,
Belmore
though.
Manor stood proudly and enigmatically at the center of the estate. Who knew what had gone on inside its walls?
It's a beautiful house.
A large pond lay in front of the house, slowly being reclaimed by algae and weeds. Belmore Manor stood proudly. I scanned the house for a way in, perhaps an unlocked door or window, but my search was without luck. A large pond.
I wonder what that is. What does this mean? And what's that, like, froggy sound? Doing some weird... Is it, like, something in the water?
A table and chairs sat inside the gazebo, an echo of better days with afternoon tea looking out over the ocean. A horseshoe hung above the gazebo threshold, supposedly a symbol of good luck. From the gathering moss and rust, it was clear the patio set hadn't been used in decades.
Ow!
So much for good luck.
Well, at least we got a
I picked
horseshoe.
up the horseshoe that assaulted me. It was heavy, very heavy. It was a heavy iron horseshoe. It was a heavy iron.
Okay. Clearly we're supposed to use it for something. Maybe let's go back to the church area?
I disturbed Edgar enough.
Does he want the horseshoe?
I didn't think he'd be interested.
Okay. Is there something we can give him?
I scanned the headstone.
Okay, for some reason, I can't go over that specific... Oh, crap. Did it again. I have a dual monitor, and every time like I try to click on this area, it keeps clicking out of the screen. What's in the sack? Oh.
Anything to report?
Nothing yet, but I'm keeping my eyes open.
Don't even think about touching that machine.
Rude. Well, again. It's annoying.
I decided to leave Kips to...
I like how like lights turn on and off. That's cool.
The poster advertised billiards at the Captain's Club, with 3 billiard balls and 2 cues framing a cube of billiard chalk.
Oh, so we do want to get into the club to get the chalk.
Rough mumbles emanate.
But we've got to do something of note.
I tried the door.
Okay. Wonder if there's anything else over at Belmore Manor.
I wasn't going to wade into the pond.
There's a path over there? Where does the path go? To the back? I am intrigued. Oh, interesting.
I scanned the house.
Why are these torches lit? That's a pretty unique thing. Like it's, and why are these things marked? Like, are they just placeholders for something in the future? Like we can't do anything with them right now, but eventually, maybe. Collect some water. Can we? Yeah.
I
Cool.
filled up the bottle with pond water.
Wonder what it's going to be used for.
Anything to report?
Nothing yet, but I'm keeping my eyes open.
Maybe we can dunk this twine in the ink?
I couldn't do that.
How about this? You wanna...
I did need to pour water on that.
Whoops. Horseshoe.
I couldn't do that. I thought I didn't need to show her that.
What else is there?
If I was going to make use of...
Weigh the fish, maybe?
I hung the fish on the scale.
Nice try, Mac. But it's going to need to be heavier than that to beat my record.
Wonder if we could put something in there. Put the horseshoe.
With the ripped seam as an opening, I placed the horseshoe inside the taxidermied fish. Now it was heavy. That didn't work.
Okay. Let's put it up there.
Mac, does that say what I think it does? You've been holding back on me. That breaks my record.
McAllen!
Nice.
You just broke the island fishing record.
How did you hear about this so fast?
It's my job to know about things fast. Now, I'm doing the questions here. So what led to this unbelievable turn of events? Years of practice? Or a one-in-a-million fluke? Did the fish just jump into your lap as you walked the quayside? Was the fish dropped by a passing seagull?
Would have been a pretty darn big seagull.
Just beginner's luck, I guess.
As I suspected, well, as much as it pains me to say it, you're the cover story on this evening's edition of the Juniper Parish Gazette, and this is why I'm not getting a Pulitzer.
Lots of pictures taken there.
I've got to hand it to you, Mac. That fish is a whopper. I wouldn't believe it
Pretty
myself if I
tiny.
hadn't seen it with my own eyes.
I'd had enough of carrying. I decided to leave it.
Pretty sussy.
Murphy, have you seen the cover of the evening edition? I think we caught your personality perfectly in that photograph. Naive, simple, unsophisticated. Makes it all the more surprising that you actually accomplished something.
I wonder if I should have it framed.
That will cost you.
I picked up the newspaper. The fewer people that saw it, the better.
Alrighty. Oops, let me see.
The headline read, "Island Newcomer Breaks Fishing Record," with my photograph printed in black and white. The headline read,
Alrighty.
carefully, I cut my photograph out of the newspaper.
Now I'm gonna put it in
I
there.
stuck the cutout photograph onto the still tacky interior of the captain's license. It was convincing enough.
Let's see. Yeah, pretty good. Nice. In we go. Captain's license.
My credentials.
You're telling me you are a captain?
I trust it's all in order.
Look, Sonny, the bylaws of this club only allow the club manager to verify a captain's license. And Mr. Perkins is enjoying his backgammon evening with Mrs. Perkins and the ladies this evening, with strict instructions not to be disturbed. So I'll be accepting this tonight, but try this again tomorrow night and it'll be another story. Now, with that said, a warm and hearty welcome to the Captain's Club. We sincerely hope you make use of and enjoy our facilities, and do please let me know if I can be of any assistance at all.
Bit of a pompous butt, but
An
it's
ornate
nice
statue
to...
stood in the alcove, the words carved into its base describing it as Amphitrite, the wife of Poseidon.
Cool. It's nice to kind of rub it in his face a little bit, though.
An elegant glass-paneled cabinet stood inside. A pair of cues hung either side of a trophy, in the shape of an oversized billiard ball. An elegant glass-paneled cabinet stood in the corner of the room. Inside, a pair of cues hung either side of a trophy, in the shape of an oversized billiard ball. The room was dominated by a large wooden billiard table that looked to have had plenty of use in its time. I considered playing a game. A cube of billiard...
Chalk. We got some chalk. Yay!
There was a small electrical switch on the wall. A painted globe stood at the top of the stairs, covered in pinpricks. It had either been used to plot out expeditions or as a replacement dartboard. While I was trapped on Devil's Rock, a map of the world wasn't going to be much use to me.
Let's go out on the balcony.
It was locked.
Boo. Can I turn the lights off? What? I can't turn the lights on enough? Well, let's flick it off for now. I don't know if it's turning the light on outside or not, but we'll go see.
There was nothing in the... That wasn't going...
I don't think I changed anything.
The poster advert...
Okay. We've got our chalk.
It was a small cube of blue billiard chalk. I placed the chalk into the gree-gree.
Okay, and what else do I need to get? Nails.
It was the door to a jewelry...
I wonder if the jewelry store will play a part in anything.
I tried the door. It was locked.
Where are we even staying? Or do we even find that out? I wonder if we can move that. I wonder if we can tie it to the table.
I tied the twine to the uneven table and took up a hiding spot behind a nearby wall. It was time to wake the dead.
Oh, creepy.
Hello? Hello? Why is it so dark in here?
Huh? Who's that?
I'm stuck! Help! Help!
If that's you kids...
Get me out of this thing!
Oh, no, not again.
Not again, so it's happened before?
okay. I'm so sorry. I was told... Mister? Oh, darn it. Next time I see those kids, I'm gonna have a lineup of Pee-wee coffins ready for them.
Ugh.
They like being scared out of their wits.
That was a bit of a jerk move on his part, though. Aw, and he's costing him money out of his pocket. You better share, because that's a bit of a dick move. Put it back. Put back the jack.
I didn't need to steady the table again.
Why? It's not your jack.
I picked up the handful of discarded coffin nails from the tin. I placed the coffin nails into the gree-gree.
I've done it. All 5 ingredients for the summoning spell. Now I needed to head back to the Spirit Queen.
That sucks. I don't like his the way he does things. Like,
Murphy, have you done what was asked of you?
I have.
Wonderful. Now, it is time for the final step. Out of the darkness, the sadness, the fear, I command you, my servant, now to appear!
here comes the dude again. Poor guy.
I
Getting
have
arrested
returned,
with-
Master. What is your desire?
The ingredients have been gathered. The final step of the spell is ready. The focus.
Focus on what?
The focus of the spell is that which you are casting it upon. Belmore Manor is where the ghosts reside. An image of Belmore Manor is what you must direct the spell with.
Murphy, do you have an image of Belmore Manor we can use?
Probably.
Yes, Murphy. That will work. Place it inside the gree-gree as the final ingredient.
Okay.
I folded the magazine cover and placed it inside the gree-gree.
The spell is ready. Finally, the ghosts will be free again. Open the gree-gree, Murphy, and that will cast the spell.
With some trepidation, I took the gree-gree from my pocket and then, with a deep breath, opened it.
I like this, like the imagery of everything. Oh.
At last, I am free.
Servant, what's happening?
I was never your servant.
I am your master. You shall do my bidding. I command you.
Foolish mortal, you have served your purpose. No longer do I need to manifest as an ephemeral specter. Now my true spirit form is freed.
Oh.
Loa, do as I say.
You have no more use to me.
Oh no.
I wasn't sure what I'd just seen, but the voodoo fire raging all around me was all too real. I needed to get out, and fast.
Oh, well, good thing I got some water. Glad I grabbed that water. That was just a fluke. Oh! What's she doing? She's pulling him inside? Creepy. Oh, this is intriguing. I really want to see what the full game looks like now. That is so interesting. Wow, I really want to know the whole story. I am really excited for the full game. This is going to be so interesting. And like the voice cast, they did a great job. Like the voices matched the characters perfectly, in my opinion. And the visuals in the art styles, like the way that it's just so well made. Like just the demo, like yeah, there was some glitching, but I don't know if that's because of my computer or because of the game. I don't know, and I'm not going to say it is the game because it could just be me bugging, my computer bugging, or me bugging, one of the two. I know me clicking out is definitely my fault. But it's a very pretty game for sure. And like the art style is definitely my type of vibe. Like the point click style games, I really like those. Like the Monkey Island games, the King Quest games, there's also like a game that I really like, Blade Runner from 1995, I believe. It was one of the first games as well, and it's a point click game. I actually might play that for the channel. But anyway, great job, Inklingwood Studios. Very nice. Very nice job. I really enjoyed the demo. I think it was just cool that I was able to get the water. Cool. Wonder who that is. Is he like the officer guy? Like she pulled him in, so she must think that he has the ability to help. I don't know. But very nice. Very nice game. So that's going to be it for this demo. I might end up cutting in half. I don't know. I might just leave it as long as it is. We'll see what happens. So thank you all for watching. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and always remember, friends don't let friends marry the wrong person.